Has it ever happened to you? Love at first sight. Let's speak to Dr. Rachael Molitor, who's a psychology lecturer at Coventry University. And Rachel's with us this Thursday morning. Good morning, you.
Good morning, good morning. What a wonderful story. This is so lovely to hear on the radio.
Isn't it?
So gorgeous.
It's so nice to have a chat with an expert as well about something positive and not doom and gloom.
Absolutely. This is what we need. We need more of this, definitely.
It is lovely. Well, listen, before we talk about psychology, for you, Rachel, before we talk about the psychology of it, do you believe in love at first sight?
I absolutely do, and I do because it happened to me. So I met my husband at university, and he was the one who opened our door I was looking for a final year house, and he opened the door, and I even joked to my friends afterwards, being like, I think I found the person I'm going to marry, and it turns out I have 14 years later, we're still together, and 6 years married. So I do completely believe in it.
Oh, congratulations. I don't know whether you've been listening for a few minutes or not, but that's exactly similar to my story in that the second I saw him, I'm going to marry you. Oh, yeah. Lovely. It does happen. We're very, very lucky women.
It does.
Rachel.
It really does.
We are. But obviously not everybody is. What's the psychology behind this, do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the psychology behind love at first sight is this very intense emotional connection. So we do normally look at physical attraction first. It is something which we see. It's these sort of primary sort of initial impressions we see of somebody. We may see their physical appearance, and then straight away from that, we deem sort of other attributes from them. And this is from something in psychology called the halo effect. So because of this initial attraction, this halo effect kicks in. If we see them as maybe more good looking or our type, then automatically we think that they may be more intelligent or kind or trustworthy. And actually we attribute these positive qualities to them, and then we kind of build up this story in our mind of how we might like link to them perfectly. So this initial attraction, these first impressions are maybe like 1/10 of a second, and then we start making all these stories, and it is this mental shortcut. It is important to note that it is more infatuation at that point, so it's more passion over sort of long-term components such as having a commitment to them or having intimate, obviously, times and things with them. So it is that passion that we have, but it absolutely is this first impression we have with someone, and we kind of create this positive picture in our minds.
Passion, obviously, passion. But I do think as human beings, we have this basic instinct that we are subliminally assessing. Say you and I were to go out and years ago before we met our husbands, and we were out and a couple of lads had come up to us, that you are psychologically subliminally maybe assessing, would you make a good father? Are you a good provider? Yeah. Are you going to be secure? It's like literally the basic instinct.
It absolutely is, and there's a lot of theory around psychology looking at how if you're looking at that sort of stereotype in the sense of girls are looking for a guy who's broad shoulders, who could be a hunter-gatherer, and guys are looking for a girl who have excellent childbearing hips and can be a family person. I mean, it's always the way, isn't it? You hear these things, so we do have that, but also it's interesting to see cross-culturally we look for different things in different partners, and it is this romantic connection. We're looking for someone, but if you are thinking of it as more of an animalistic thing, you are looking for someone to be able to create a family with, which is then that first impression looking at, which does make a lot for physical attractiveness and physical appearance, which is why I think such programs such as Love Island I think is fascinating, and I do a lot of research on that area as well. Heaven forbid I do research on Love Island, but when we see those ideas around physical attraction, I think that in itself, you're seeing people as a physical first impression before they even open their mouth, and that can gain a real strong sort of initial response.
So you watch it for research purposes, do you, Rachel?
Absolutely.
I've got no excuse. I just love it.
You could be doing it for research purposes for me, and you can send me an email and tell me all the things you feel.
For Rachel. But the thing is with Love Island and Big Brother, and well, actually those are the two that I do watch unashamedly, although I am a bit embarrassed because I do sort of flick it off when my husband comes in. I don't want him to see I'm watching Love Island. But I find it absolutely fascinating, the psychology of it, especially Big Brother, because I'm not sure about Love Island of how much is I mean, they're fully aware they're being filmed, and it is a little bit prescriptive, isn't it? And it's a little bit formulaic. I'm not sure how much of it's natural. Big Brother, and these days isn't quite the same, but when it first started and they were literally left to fend for themselves for 3 months, what a social experiment.
Oh, it is. I mean, Big Brother came from the original sort of research around, basically locking people away in this whole prison experiment that had the guards and the prisoners and all of these things. It came from that originally, and looking at this Big Brother going forwards being always watched and this idea of reality TV. But yes, reality TV, you're absolutely right. Things like The Traitors or Love Island or Big Brother and all the other ones, they're kind of reality TV with a twist now, because they aren't scripted, but they are given certain things to maybe say or suggestions to speak to someone. But actually, when it comes to the duty of care from the TV programs, they've got a psychologist there. And I mean, I would love to be that resident psychologist. Could you imagine? But it would be fabulous to be able to talk to them. And they do get a lot of support, because it is really quite difficult, not only in the reality TV itself, but also coming out of it on the other side. I know we completely digress at the moment from this, but it is so interesting.
We have PJ, who works on The Breakfast Show. PJ from Big Brother, who was the Jay Goody series. I mean, he's fairly new here. When I did meet him a couple of months ago, I was like really starstruck. But I was also just fascinating that he had been part, Jay Goody and all of that aside, just the fact that he had been part of this social experiment. I look at him with awe that he's been through that.
Oh, I love it. I love speaking to people from reality TV. Luckily, because I do obviously research in these areas, I get to chat to people, and I know people have been on Love Island and The Traitors and such, and I always get to hear like the secrets underneath. I'm like, what really happens when the cameras go off?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to ask you one quick final question. Going back, we have digressed a bit, but going back to...
I know, sorry.
No, don't apologise. I steered it. I love Love Island. Can people grow on you? If you don't get love at sight, can people grow on you? That's all I wanted to ask finally.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, when it comes to this love at first sight, it's more of this infatuation with someone. It is very much this, when we say passion, we don't mean passion as in physical passion, but these intense feelings, this emotion. But actually, if it's not that itself, real love itself from research is shown to be built on foundation of knowing someone, knowing their flaws and strengths, which is why it's helpful for me, because I lived with my other half. He was my housemate, so I got to see his flaws and his strengths. But it is absolutely that. So it's knowing someone deeply, it's knowing the ins and outs of them. It's also having similar personalities and getting to like similar things to them as well. So absolutely someone can grow on you. Whereas we see love at first sight, I know you've been, there's other ones, examples of people having, relationships that maybe have been put together. And actually you can have people that really grow on someone to create a really deep and meaningful relationship.
Oh, we haven't got time, otherwise we'd be discussing naked attraction at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go. Get me back on.
Another time. Rachel, it's been fascinating. 100%. Look, you can tell you're watching Love Island. Fascinating speaking to you. Dr. Rachael Molitor, thank you ever so much. Yeah, we'll definitely speak soon.
Thank you so much. All right. Speak soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Molly Green.
Oh, I liked her very, very much. Dr. Rachael Molitor, she's psychology lecturer at Coventry University.